Welcome, my smart lovers and friends. I'm so excited to have you here. Welcome to this community built just for you, focused on inspiring true love and authentic, healthy relationships, okay? All the ships, friendships, romantic relationships, partnerships, all of the above. So I'm super excited to have you here. What to expect, topics related to dating, relationships, marriage, growth, and self-mastery. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of the community. Make sure you share with a friend or two or three. Let's continue to grow together. Okay, we are live. Welcome to Smart Love Sundays. Super excited today. I don't know, we have a little bit of a delay, so let me just see. Make sure everything's good. Okay, so it did play the full video. All right, well, I am super excited because I have a special guest with me today. We are a little earlier than our normal time, but we are ready to go. We are fired up. My guest today, she has written this wonderful book that is, I believe, set to be released next week. So you guys are getting an exclusive early interview, and I am going to go ahead and bring her to the stage. Hikina Michell. How are you, dear?
I am excellent. How are you doing?
I am awesome. I am so excited to have you here. Thank you so much for being my guest today.
Oh no, thank you for inviting me on. I'm so excited. Hi everybody.
Hey. Oh, we got some folks already in the chat. Okay. Hello. Okay, my mother PJ there. Hey, Mama PJ. She's always supporting my show. Love her. Well,
Excellent.
she's probably really interested in this topic because I did send this out to some of my folks. I was like, you guys need to watch this show. You need to read this book. So the book is titled Broken Mothers Create Wounded Children.
Yes, definitely. That is definitely a fact. I know we don't want to admit it. I know we were very hesitant having these hard conversations. I am 50, and I grew up in a generation where you don't tell your business. What stays in the house, goes in the house, stay in the house. But we don't realize how that has created a lifelong and generational situation to where we have suffered in silence. So it's time to talk. It's time to speak. It's time to have those conversations and understand that broken mothers will create wounded children. It's inevitable.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm noticing that your video is like a little choppy.
Oh.
Does it look okay to you? Okay, I think it's good now. It's just maybe it's going in and out a little bit, but you look good now. Yes. So, what was well, tell us a little bit about the book, and then tell us like your inspiration.
Well, the book is exactly how I title. It talks about different situations. I actually coach and I mentor and I speak. I have been one since I was 15. My first mentor at the Boys and Girls Club gave me a young girl to mentor, and she was 8. And it's like, I don't know, the moment that we sat down and we spoke and she shared her truth, I knew that was my passion. I knew that was my goal. So I've mentored and speak my whole life. So the book came about actually. It was my own journal. I'm a mother, and I was committed to breaking down trauma in my own family. So I didn't want to make sure that I passed down anything to my daughters that I knew that was lingering in my own family. It was commitment. Yeah, so it kind of started as a journal, and I was just journaling things that I knew was going on in my own family, my own lineage. Yeah. And from there, I had some people I was mentoring at the time and coaching, and I kind of shared some things. I was like, I don't know if it's a book. But then it was funny, and I was meditating after that, and God said, oh, that's a book. that don't belong to you. That belongs to my people. So it actually started out ironically as broken mothers create broken mothers create wounded daughters. When I first started the book, I only had daughters.
Okay.
So throughout the years, I've been working on it, and life happens. So I've started it, stopped it, started and stopped it, and in that process, I had a son. So now I have an 11-year-old son, and my mindset was still the same with him as it was my daughters, to make sure that nothing was passed down emotionally, psychologically, or physically that would wound him as well. So it kind of, God began to say, it's not just daughters.
Right.
I changed the title to Broken Mothers Create Wounded Children, because that is actually correct. And I tell my brothers all the time when I see them out in public, I say, go back and get your humanity. It was stolen from you. They say women, we're very emotional. Y'all always sad and angry, but that's not a male or female thing. That's a human thing.
Yep.
So I would tell my brothers, go back and get your humanity. It was stolen from you. You are allowed to feel. You're allowed to cry. You're allowed to be sad. You're allowed to be disappointed. That doesn't belong to us as women. That belongs to us as people.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's kind of how the book kind of transpired and began. The setting of it is what I do. I sit and I coach and I mentor. So the setting of the book is kind of different clients. They're coming to their therapist and they're going through their session, and she's helping them throughout the process. So it's kind of like, me channeling me into the book and what I do. And that was just easier for me to, kind of relay what's going on in the real world and use real world scenarios that we go through and we have gone throughout our generation. So.
Wow. So is it fiction, nonfiction? Like
it's I've been doing this for 35 years. So I've heard a lot of stories. I've shared a lot of tears. I've given a lot. I've heard my sisters and my brothers for a long time. I've shared their pain. I've felt their pain. I've seen their pain. So it's kind of a collaboration of people that I've known throughout the years.
Okay.
What I know is going on in my community.
Yes,
so it's kind of like.
Okay. So they're saying in the comment that you're a little choppy still. Are you connected to Wi-Fi or?
No, I'm connected to actually the internet.
Okay, maybe connect to Wi-Fi. Maybe.
Yeah, that might help better.
Okay, okay. All right, she'll be back in 1 second. Yeah, so I'm going to make sure that I put the link to the book. Even okay, it's like zooming in and out. Okay, where's it? I will log out and log back in. Okay, no, I think it's me. Okay. All right, I think it's that. Let's see. Okay. Okay, you're still a little choppy.
Still a little choppy?
Yes.
Yeah, it says it's on the Wi-Fi.
Okay. Okay, it could be this. Like, are you on Android or an iOS device?
iPhone.
iPhone. Okay. Did you open it up in Safari? Okay, you just went away. Okay. Okay. One moment, please. We're getting our audio and video together. Can you all hear me okay? Okay, she said I'm fine. Okay. So yeah, so we're just gonna get Hikina's audio together because I really want you all to really hear and see her, because this is a really important book, I think. And okay, see me up there. Okay, so as soon as she comes back, I'm going to bring her back on. But you can find the book on Amazon. And again, the title is Broken Mothers Create Wounded Children. And one of the reasons why I really want to talk about this subject is because in some of our past episodes of Smart Love, we talked about how trauma from your childhood affects your relationships today, and how you relate to people, how you communicate. Um, and so it's important to kind of heal those wounds when you're trying to build healthy, happy, loving relationships. So this book right here sounds like that's exactly what she's focusing on. So we're gonna dive into it as soon as we get her back. Okay, so I see. Oh, okay, here we go. There she is. Okay. 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 I saw you. Are you on your computer too? Okay.
Okay, let's see now.
Okay. It's a little bit of a delay, but I think it is better.
Okay,
So
good.
I'm going to bring up the other one. Let's see.
Yeah, I logged
Did
out
you
of it.
log? Okay.
I logged out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Doesn't let me remove it. Okay. Okay. So I was just saying that a lot of the episodes that we've had on Smart Love, especially when we were talking about the war on Black love, we talked a lot about the fact that we all like have some type of well, it's more common than not that people have some type of childhood trauma that they,
Mm-hmm.
did not deal with, that carries on to their adulthood, and it shows up in their relationships. And
Exactly.
so it sounds like this is exactly what you're diving into in your book, like going back to, you know, dealing with like what could have been passed down from you, or even just from your own experience that you're now, like I said, passing it down to your children. It's showing up in your relationships. Then it's gonna, it can create that generational curse, as you mentioned. So
I mean, you're absolutely right. And actually, most of the characters in the books, of course, are adults, and they're talking about things exactly like that. You know how one of the characters, she's a single mother. She talks about how, her relationship with her mother, and she's understanding psychologically what's happening with her. She's fighting to not do that to her daughter. We have a character named Dante. He talks about his siblings and how that affected his relationship with his siblings. I have another character in that, Araya. She talks about how her marriage is, it affects her marriage. So yes, it definitely does that. And one of the things I think for us that makes it hard for us to understand trauma, because I'm pretty sure me and you and all our beautiful listeners that's watching, we all can sit in a room together and share the same stories. And because we can do that, we can't connect that as trauma. To us, it's just our life. It's just how we grew up. And we don't understand that those things have affected how we are as people. I always tell people, you didn't come into this world like that. People are like, oh, this is who I am. This is how I am. But you didn't come into this world like that. No one came into the world the way that they are. We became who we are over time.
that's right.
And we have yet to understand that how we are is a product of our environment, our home, our situations that that emotionally and psychologically that affected us.
Mm-hmm.
And also, for example, I use an example I use sometimes with people. So have you ever met someone and you were having a conversation with them? And in the conversation, in your mind, you're thinking, the first thing they say is, I'm not a child. I'm not a child. And don't talk like I'm a child. But you're thinking, I'm not talking to you like you're a child. To me, we're grown adults to grown adult.
Mm-hmm.
But they really feel as if you're talking to them like a child. It's because what we don't understand is that person does feel like a child. So for them, when they have to deal with adult conversations, or what we think is adult conversations, meaning, using your critical thinking skills and being able to understand your emotional intelligence level of how you deal with someone, most adults can't do that. So what happens is they resort back to that childhood trauma where they felt like they was being attacked. They felt like they was being treated like a child. So adult to adult, we can't communicate as adults because we're still dealing with how we felt as that child who may have dealt with what you're making them feel like you're dealing with in that moment. So I would tell people, yeah, exactly.
That's what that. Ooh, you just said a whole word right there. That makes sense. That makes sense. So it's like so the reaction that you're getting from them is like it goes to a wound that wasn't healed. That something that you're saying is triggering that emotion, and they revert back to that childlike state. Wow.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. And one of the things about my business, Hikina Michell Consulting, I actually revamped it in the last few years, and I actually specifically decided I want to deal with two things that I knew was breaking down me and my people, and that was emotional intelligence and critical thinking skills.
Where did those balloons come from? Did you see that?
I don't know. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. That was so sweet.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Wasn't that cute? That was so cute. Yeah, but and what we don't understand is, I'm actually getting ready to launch a website. I mean, a workshop in April. The workshop is called 3 Classrooms, and it's actually a tie. Everything is connected to the book in itself. And the 3 Classrooms talks about how we don't understand that we have operated in 3 classrooms throughout our life. The first classroom we entered into was your home. Your parent, as a parent, you are the teacher, you are the principal, you are the advisor, you are the lunch lady, you are the nurse, you are all those things for your child in that first classroom. And in that first classroom, you're supposed to learn something that's very important before you go to the second classroom. That's emotional intelligence. That's your ability to understand your emotions and decipher your emotions and the emotions of other people. And the second classroom is, of course, is when we enter into school, our intellectual and academic classroom. The third classroom is the one we living in now, life. So this is and the thing is, if you don't have the tools from the first classroom, meaning that you can't understand your emotions, you don't know when you come out to the world and something happens to you, everything you equate, you're mad, you're upset.
Right.
You may not be. You may be hurt. You may be sad. You may be embarrassed. You may be disappointed. But if you didn't learn those skills in your first classroom, if you didn't learn how to have conflict resolution skills, if you didn't learn how to have a conversation,
Right.
meaning men, you know how to actually listen to each other and actively listen to each other, then when you get into that second and third classroom, you cannot function. And the third classroom is what we're in now, relationships and marriages and Black love.
Yeah. Okay, so let me ask you this. So if you did not get that, you didn't have anyone, you didn't have a teacher in that second classroom, right, to teach you emotional intelligence and conflict resolution, because your parents, they didn't have that either. Like, how are you supposed to learn that? Is that something that yeah, how are you supposed to learn that? Come to your class? Like what, how do they?
But actually, honestly, that is actually what sparked me to make this workshop, because I would tell people I'm very blessed. I grew up in what I call the crossroads. I grew up in a typical, what we call Black, community. You do what I say do, when I say do it, how I say do it. You don't breathe till I tell you to breathe. Oh, you talking back to me, I'm gonna get something talking back to me about. So I grew up in that same environment. But I also grew up in an environment where I had teachers and mentors and counselors, and I always had, those other outside forces. And what I realized growing up and then becoming a mom was that everybody doesn't have that. That's not everybody's reality.
Right.
So when I say people say, see other people, they say adults, well, you grown, you should know. And I would say, well, how would I know?
Right.
Just because you're a certain age doesn't mean that you know. If you never got the skills and tools, then you really don't have them. But we do learn how to cope in life. We do not learn how to function in life, but doesn't necessarily mean we have the skills and tools to actually have a healthy relationship with anyone, whether, like I said, it's a friendship, whether it's romantic, whether it's parent to child, whether it's mother to daughter, whether it's friend to friend. We don't have the skills and tools to have that. So to answer your question, yes, you have to at some point say, you know what, I need help. Whether it's a counselor, whether it's a therapist, whether it's a mentor, whether it's a class or a workshop, whatever you feel comfortable in your space to say, you know what, I need to learn these skills and tools. But the kicker about that is the tagline for my business is there's no healing without truth. So the problem is, to get that, you got to tell the truth.
You got to tell the truth. Yeah.
You got to tell the truth.
Yeah. And so when you think about, like, some of the traumas and, probably some of the stories that you have in your book, like, what typically are, the wounds that we for sure are passing down, like, that we know we haven't dealt with, like, what, give us some examples of these things that, like, show up later on in life and that people might be able to look at, like, you know what, I did experience that. Oh, wow. That's why I, react the way I react to certain things. And that's why, I treat my partner this way, or this is why I don't love myself. Like what are some things that are typically some of those wounds that we didn't heal?
Um, let's do the mother child, the mother wound, because that's something that's actually coming out, now, and actually was, part of the book, of course. What we have to understand about being a mother is, I was telling, for now, this is my lesson as well. I learned that being a mother isn't putting food on the table, clothes on the back, and roof over their head. There was a point in my early 20s, I actually was a peer mentor to someone she was actually the counselor to helping young girls who were rescued from sex trafficking. And because I wasn't licensed yet, but I was closer to their age, I was like a peer mentor. So, I kind of came in with her to help them like connect, with someone that was closer. And what I listened to them and I listened to their stories, they were fed, they were clothed, and they had somewhere to lay their head. But were they parented? They were not parented. So for us, we have equate parenting being, there's no reason for you to be sad or depressed or angry, or you shouldn't be hurt. You have everything that you need. You have somewhere to lay your head. You have food on the table. You have clothes on your back. You go to school. You have this and this and this and this. So we begin to name every single tangible and materialistic thing that we have ever had given our children, but we don't give them emotional support. We don't listen to them. They don't have, like, so with my kids, I told them, you have a voice. You have a right to have feelings. You have a right to be able to think. You have a right to ask me questions if you don't understand. And for us, especially my generation, I'm a Gen X. We roll.
Yeah, yeah.
And for us, we didn't, we weren't allowed to have a voice. For my generation, you do what I say, do when I say do it. You think when I say think. You move how I say move. And anything that we said, or even generation before us, anything that you said was disrespectful. Anything, no, anytime you had an opinion about anything, you were disrespectful. So imagine growing up in a household where you do not have a voice. You do not, your identity it was given to you. And now I tell people, I say, think about that being a child, and you tell this child, okay, this is who you are, this is how you think, this is how you move. Now go out to the world and function with other people. Same thing with relationships. I tell people relationships, I say, with young girls, we'll talk, so we can feel and we can cry and we can, we can do all these things because we're girls and we can do that. That's what girls do, right? And for guys, you can, if you cry, if you're sad, then you cannot do that because you're weak. Now this female comes out into the world and this male comes out into the world and they meet each other. She's too emotional. He's not emotional at all. So how can they communicate? So I think one of the main things for us that we have yet to understand that affects us is how we were raised psychologically, how we was raised mentally and emotionally. We weren't allowed to, and especially us as melanated people, we don't have time to have no feelings. I got bills to pay. I got to go to work. I got to do A, B, C, D, and F, and then to Z. I ain't got time for that. I don't have time to be thinking about what I feel. I don't have time. But in reality, you are the person. You operate in that. So if you can't sit down and think about your own emotions and your own feelings and your own things you're going through, one, as a person, how are you going to be able to cope, to exist with someone else in a relationship? Two, how are you going to pass that down as a parent?
Wow, that's
so it's a cycle that keeps going on and on and on and on and on. If you have a father who is in the household and he can't communicate because he don't know how to deal with his emotions, because when he was little, he was told he can't have them, and if he did, he was weak. How dare you cry? Man up, man up. So for him, he, what, I can't, I don't have time. And for a female, she was allowed to have these emotions, but not know how to actually deal with them, or to address them, or to label them, to understand them. And then we grow up, and then we become parents, and we do the same thing over and over and over again.
That is so true. But we got a couple people. Oh, hey, necessary, unnecessary. Yeah, so Uh-oh, I think I lost you. Hi, Kina. Uh-oh. I guess she had the same Amber Alert that I did. Just give her 1 second to get her connection back together. No, but yeah, what she just said, like that's so true. Like I feel like, growing up, your parents, provided shelter for you, provide food, food on the table, make sure you had clothes on your back, but that doesn't necessarily mean they gave you the emotional care that you needed, so that is something that, our generation is suffering from, and we're seeing that today. Hey, there you go.
Yeah. I got an alert in my Amber Alert, and everything just went down.
Amber Alert, I just got okay. But yeah, but I mean that is so true. I never really thought about it like that. The fact that, you know, our parents were barely, just able to provide the essential needs, when it came to, the tangible things that you mentioned. But they may not even have been equipped to give us the emotional support that we needed because, again, like you said, passed down from their, prior generation, they weren't taught that either. And
Exactly.
so yeah, that's deep.
Yeah. And I always say, because I always tell people, I deal with trauma. They're like, oh, that's great. I said, no, I deal with in-house trauma, meaning the things that we were never allowed to talk about and deal with. And I want to be able to create an environment where we can have these conversations and not feel like we're judging anybody. Because, we're not judging our parents or our grandparents or our great-grandparents, because like you said, they only can share what they had. So, and if they were not taught to have emotions, if they were not taught to be able to express their emotions or know how to verbalize them, then of course they couldn't pass it down. So
Exactly.
let's create an environment where we can tell the truth, but not judge any generation. But we have to be able to tell the truth and say, you know what? I know you loved me. I know you did everything you could for me, but some things was just not okay.
Mm-hmm.
And some things that that we need was not given.
Right.
So and do that without just. And I think up until this point, because I love this generation. I love this. I know people say they out of control, but I love them. I've been waiting on them my whole life. So, because they have a voice, they have what we didn't have. They don't mind saying, you know what, this is not okay. This is not right. I'm not going for this. A lot of them, we tweak some respect, and tweak some manners.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, they are standing up for us.
Mm-hmm.
We have needed them for a very long time. We have needed them to say, you know what, we need to change. This is not right.
Yeah.
So this is a great time to do that. And we need to do that with love, with honesty, with no ego on the table, because we're not pointing fingers at anybody. We're not judging anybody. We're not blaming anybody.
Mm-hmm.
But as a culture, this has damaged us for a long time.
Yep.
So it's time.
It's time for sure. Okay, we got some folks in the chat. Hey, Alexis. Thanks for joining. If y'all have any questions for Hikina, please put them in the chat. If you got
Hey,
comments on
that's my
the
sister.
conversation, that's your sister.
And my best friend. That's my best friend, sister.
Okay, so Nick from the Necessary Unnecessary podcast said, I had to learn that later in life. No affection growing up, just care.
Exactly. And the thing about, being able to learn that later in life, it takes courage, because I think for a lot of us, the reason that it took so long for us to be able to actually grow and heal, because to do that, I would say people, to do that, you gotta deal with something that you're not used to dealing with. And just saying
Right.
that, my parents, maybe they wasn't perfect. Like maybe they did do some stuff that bothered, me. And for a lot of us, it's hard to say that about our parents, because we see them how we see them as our parents.
Yes.
So for a lot of adults, it's hard, because that truth thing is really hard to deal with.
Yeah. And I think that the fact that, we have in our community so many, single mothers raising children, especially young men.
Mm-hmm.
And so you know, like you see a few different scenarios. Sometimes you see the mother that's like overly, you know, loving,
Mm-hmm.
giving the son whatever he needs, and so to the point where he you know, doesn't know how to be in a relationship with a woman that's not coddling him in that way, right? Or
Exactly.
you know, or we have the mothers that you know she works hard, she works 2 or 3 jobs, she's taking care of everything. She cooks, she cleans, she does it all, and then they start to think, well, that's how every woman should be, and like there's no empathy if you don't do it to that level. Like, well, my
Right,
mama did,
exactly. Yeah,
you
you're
know, my
absolutely
mama
right.
cook, clean, work 2 jobs. Like, what you mean you want me to pay half? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, it definitely, you know, trickles down. So, like, what advice would you give, like, you know, single mothers raising young men?
Well, as a single mother raising a young man, one thing I try to make sure that I do with my son is, and I tell my daughters all the time, be very careful. We have to be very clear how we carry ourselves in this home, because the example of a woman that he sees, how we carry ourselves, how we communicate with each other, how we communicate with him, our morals and values and standards will reflect the type of woman that he will look for when he leaves his home, because that will be his normal. So one
Mm,
thing as a mother, I am very present of, I like words like integrity. I like words like character. I like
mm,
words like morals and values and principles. I'm still old school in that place, in that space. So, so raising a son as a single mother, I have to make sure that he understands how important those things are for him, as well as him being a man in a female's life as well. And one
mm.
thing I have to understand about raising a single son is, and I'm very serious about this. We notice in my household, I like to make sure that he knows he has a voice too, that he understands that his feelings matter too, that he understands that he deserves to be heard and he deserves to be respected as well. So that when he leave my home and go out to this world and he start interacting with females, that it's not just about him taking care of her and her feelings. That
That's
is
right.
that is highly important. But make sure that she knows that you are valuable too. And not in
Mm,
just a monetary way, but as a human to human, spirit to spirit, soul to soul, y'all both matter. Because I think
that's
the thing that we've done with men is we have made them only providers. You can,
mm,
that's it. Take care of me and my household. Long as you doing that, I'm good.
you're right.
That's it. So as a man, I think it's important that we make sure that they understand that they matter too. And same thing for us, and vice versa. So I think that we can build relationships to where we can cultivate a atmosphere where we all understand that our feelings matter, not just mine. It's about what I feel. It's not about what I feel, what I think, what I want, when I want, how I want it. It's a mutual exchange
Yep.
between both people. We matter. Our thoughts matter. Our feelings matter. Our desires matter. Our anything that comes into play as us being humans and spirits matter equally.
That's right. Okay, so look, here goes this. He said, so when I asked you like what advice do you have for single mothers, he said get a man. But okay, speaking of
I'm
getting a man,
good right now, but I got you. I hear you. I feel you. But I'm
okay,
good right now.
but I know he just you know trolling. But what do you feel about the fact or like what how would I say this? Okay, so in my opinion, like I think that it's important for single mothers to to make sure that their children, especially their young, their boys, well, their boys and the girls, have a strong relationship with the father. Number
Hmm.
one, right? So even if their father is not in the house, that does not mean he cannot be a father. Because I think that father role is very important,
Yeah.
even probably even more so in those situations when the father is not in the home, right?
I
Because
agree.
now there's like, you know, now you have to purposefully grow that relationship and create that bond. But, you know, young men need to see that. They need to see their fathers in that role. But even if the father is not present or can't be for whatever reason, I think other male role models need to be put in place for those children as well. So what do you
Yeah.
think about that? Like, do you feel like mothers is out here? No, I just want to do it by myself. Like, we want to wear the cape. Like, it's just us. We doing it, but like, not realizing you do need a man. That role is very important in your daughter's and your son's life.
Yeah.
Raising.
You actually took the words right out of my mouth. Out of my mouth. I feel like, there's some women say, well, no, the father of my child, he's this and he's this and he's this. No problem, sweetheart. You have the 100 black men of Atlanta, the 100 black men of however, whatever state you're in. You have, there's men that are that's their purpose, to make sure they mentor other young men. They're open to being a part of that young man's life. So if you happen to be in a situation where you have a father of your son or your daughter that doesn't want to be present, then you actually should still find someone, because there are opportunities. Like I said, I grew up in the middle of the crossroads. I had my family, and then I had mentors, and I didn't just have female mentors. I had male mentors. I had female mentors. I had people that was in my space to help me understand things in a way that my family could not. So I do feel like, as a single mother, like my son now, he's in dojo, he's in flag football, he's in the space of being around other men. So if he had questions, if he needed to know something, I have outlets.
Yeah.
I'll go. I make sure he has mentors and men around him. He has uncles. He has people that are around him that that can actually understand him in a way that I couldn't as his mother. So no, I don't know. I think as women, we need to be able to drop the ego. And single dads as well. It goes both ways. You have single dads. Make sure your daughter is around a female that can help her understand class, and morals, and how to carry herself, and all those kind of things. So there's really isn't an excuse as a single parent why you cannot have a dynamic that will make sure that your children have the full picture of what they need. Because at the end of the day, if they don't, they will come out into the world with certain wounds and certain traumas, and certain kind of things that will affect them as they go on in relationships with other people. So so I'm a diehard person who thinks, yeah, my son needs some men around him. Yeah, because some stuff I might not even want to deal with as he get older.
Mm-hmm. So Nib said he was raised by a single mom, and now he's a single dad. Yeah, so
We say single dads, exactly. We say single moms all the time, but we forget we got single dads too. I have brothers who are amazing single dads. So so it's not just single moms anymore. So we gotta stop saying no, just single moms, because we have single dads. That's also being amazing dads by themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so for me, like with my children, like, because like one of the reasons why I probably stayed longer in my marriage than I probably should have is because I didn't want to create a broken home for my children. But after once I got divorced, or even before everything was finalized, I wanted to make sure that my children's father had no reason, no excuse, no nothing for not being in their lives. It didn't matter how I felt about him or whatever happened in our relationship. I was going to go above and beyond to make sure he was present in their lives. And so, even if it was uncomfortable for me, I didn't care. I was putting their needs first, because I know for sure, for a young lady to not have her father present, I can just imagine, how she would grow up, to seeking that male attention, not knowing her value and her worth. And so, that was important to me. You got I was like, you ain't about to, he wasn't answering this phone. I was on his line, look, you ain't about to create no dysfunctional daughter with my name attached to her. Daughter.
And I agree with you. I definitely 1,000% agree with you. Like my daughter's father, he took them on their first date. I dressed them up. They got all cute. He came, he opened the door for them, and he took them on a date and actually, showed them exactly what it looks like to be on a date with someone. So I think that's needed, because I think we're on dates all the time, but I'm not a male, so it's not. It doesn't feel the same as well. But you made a good point, and this is what I ask people all the time: Take a moment to think about it. I ain't telling you that it's right or wrong, but think about it. We say all the time that you have to have a two-parent household, a two-parent household. Oh, something wrong with you because you didn't have a two-parent household. So let's listen to that. Dealing with trauma. Let's say you had a mother who was disconnected emotionally, who was broken down mentally, who could not deal with her emotion or express her emotions. You had a father who was distant, who had his own traumas and issues that he was dealing with, but they married. They're in the same household. They're raising these kids together. Do we really believe that simply because these kids are in a two-parent household, they're going to come out to the world and all of a sudden they're going to be emotionally and psychologically healthy? But the thing that we say is if they was in a two-parent household, and we need to stop saying that. If they was in a two-parent, if they was in a two-parent healthy and emotionally healthy household, then that will cultivate an emotionally healthy child. Because I come from a two-parent household. But by the time I was 16, I had emotionally and intellectually outgrew my parents. Yeah. By the time I was 17, I was helping my parents understand certain things because they didn't graduate high school.
Wow.
My dad worked 2 jobs. My mom had no problem having her bills paid. She had no problem making sure that the house was clean and cooking. That's why I love cooking. My mother loved to cook. She's passed away now, but she loved to cook. But she psychologically and emotionally didn't have what I needed. I had 3 mothers. They said you don't have one. I had 3. I had the one that birthed me and loved me and the 2 that raised me. And what if I had only had the mother that birthed me and loved me? We wouldn't be having this conversation at all, because I would have only been a product of my environment, of what my mother could provide for me.
Wow.
And I had 2 parents. My parents ended divorce till I was 17. But I literally, intellectually and emotionally outgrew my parents by the time I was a teenager. So we always say that 2-parent household thing, like it get me all the time. And I be trying my best to make sure I'm respectful when I say it, because we're not listening to what we're saying. You can have 2 parents, but if both of your parents are emotionally, psychologically dysfunctional, really, that child's gonna be, yeah.
Oh, that's so true. And like, I think for me, I can't remember. It was like either Dr. Phil or Oprah that said it. But it just stuck with me because like that kind of like really helped me like get a better understanding of it. But they said it's better for children to come from a broken home than to live in one.
There you go. Yeah.
And so, and I'm just speaking about my personal experience. Like for me, I was not happy. I don't know. I was broke. I was a broken piece of that puzzle in that home, right? And so when I fast forward and look at the person that I am today, like I'm happy, I'm healthy, like I'm living out my passions. Like, I've been blessed in so many ways that I'm like the person that my children get to see today that they can be proud of. You know what I'm saying? Like they're like, oh, my mom's doing it. And so I'd rather than see this person and yes, you still have a relationship with your father, and your father's doing well, your mother's doing well. We have
exactly.
We're friends. We're both raising you.
Yeah.
But we're healthier
exactly
relationship. So that's actually better.
And that goes back to what I said at the beginning. There's no healing without truth. And the truth that we're telling is not the truth. You don't cultivate a healthy child or a productive child in society from a 2-parent household. You cultivate a healthy child and a successful child and emotionally and psychologically from a healthy 2-parent household. But if you don't have a healthy 2-parent household, then it's okay. It's okay to be able to have one parent in that home. You want both parents to be active in that child life. That's always a given, because that's the ultimate, to be able to have it. But to be able to have them simply stay together just because we say in society you got to have two parents.
Right.
It doesn't produce a healthy child. If you're in a household and both your parents there, your daddy working, your mama there, she cooking, but they arguing, they fussing. They don't know how to show emotion to each other. You never really seen them, be, care and show love for each other, intimacy for each other. Y'all don't even talk and y'all can't have conversations. Y'all don't even share emotions, but you got both your parents in the house. I can probably get when you leave that home as an adult, you're going to eliminate what your parents did. You're going to mock what your parents did because that was your environment, and
Yeah.
that's your mom and daddy. They not wrong. My mom and daddy did it. You know what I'm saying? So we don't really understand that as parents or even as the children that we are feeding off each other. We're learning from each other.
Yep.
And that child one day will be an adult. And as an adult, what they saw with my daughters. That's why I say I'm very particular about how I carry myself, how I speak, the things that I involve myself in. Because regardless, I know my daughters watch me. I know that. I am their mom. They're not 23 and 21, but as they was growing up, I understood that. I was very, very particular about what I do and around my house and how I do it because I am their first role model.
Yep.
I'm the first example to my daughters of what a black woman looks like.
That's right.
Not some celebrity out here. I am the example in my home to what my daughters understand as a black woman. So for me, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And if as a mother or a father, if you don't understand that, if that's not important to you, then what you're mirroring to your children will actually affect them when they leave your home because they will become that. And I think growing up, past generations, that wasn't a factor, in a thought process. The only thing that our parents could do and our grandparents could do, and even my generation can do, is take care of our family,
Yep.
provide for our family. There was no room to feel anything because everything needs to be done, not dealt with, but done and taken care of. So that's the
Yeah.
main part.
Okay. I think. Okay. Okay. Hikina, I can't hear you. Are you on mute? Something happened with your sound. Hello. Hello. Nope. Still can't hear you. Let's see. Are you getting a call? Okay. Hello. Hello. What happened? Okay, let me move you and then add you back. Let's see. Okay. Nope. Still can't hear you. Hmm. You can hear me though. That is so. Let's see. So unmute you. Unmute. Because you're not muted. Huh. Okay, there you go. Let me remove this one. Okay, there you go.
Oh, I can hear you clearly. I was like, hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I don't know what happened. The iPhone is the devil today, trying to get in the way of his good word.
But the funny thing is, I say it all the time because I tell people, I know the enemy tracks me all the time because what I want to do in my community, the things I want to break down in my community, literally, would change how we feel, change how we are as people. So I understand. I understand the process. I'm with it.
Yeah. So let's talk about some of your upcoming projects. So you mentioned well, we know the book is coming out, and then there's like a workshop you're doing.
Yeah, well, actually, the book is out. It's on Amazon. You can actually go on Amazon now. Actually, and my beautiful shirt, Blackness is Greatness 365. We'll be launching this next week. And it was a project. Actually, funny thing is, if you go to one of my social media pages, you'll see that I post a Black inventor, pioneer, trailblazer every day. Actually, I have to go back and update some stuff because I had to stop for a few days because of the book. But my idea behind Blackness is Greatness 365 was because they gave us, the 1 month that, just passed. That was our little month to celebrate.
Right,
And I
right.
feel like, no, we great all the time.
Yeah,
Like, we great every single day of the year.
yeah.
So I decided, starting in January, I would post a Black, pioneer, inventor, activist that we don't know about every single day for the entire 365 days of the year to remind my people, to my sister and brother, no, we 1 month, we don't need that 1 month. We got the whole year. Every day, all day, we are great. Every day, all day. So that's kind of the concept. Yeah, that's how they came up with that. And I'm launching 2 workshops in April. One is called the 3 Classrooms, the one I was telling you about, dealing with emotional intelligence and understanding the different layers of how we need to understand how do I want to put it? How can I understand the different things the skills and tools that we need at different levels in our lives,
Okay.
and understanding how if we do not get the first set of skills and tools in the first classroom, then it really affects how we operate in each classroom after that. You think about it, if like you asked me the question about Black love, if as a young woman or a young man, you don't learn how to understand your emotions as a child, or how to express them as a child, or even know what they are as a child, then now you're grown and now you're with somebody, and y'all are loving each other and y'all are great, and she says, well, how do you feel? And you say, I don't know. And you're mad and you're angry, and y'all can't actually have a conversation to sit down and say, you know what, you hurt me, you disappointed me, you made me sad. And if they say one person can do that, and you don't have the skills and tools to receive that back, how can y'all ever have a healthy relationship? So we have to be able to understand our emotions and have emotional intelligence in the first classroom. So that the second classroom, meaning school academics, same thing in go to school. They say do what? Ask a question, know how to behave, know how to have a manner. All that stuff comes from your home first.
Yep.
So that's why I thought that workshop was very important, for us to have. And then the second one I'm launching is called 3 Parts of Mind, and that entails how we see ourselves. And I always tell people we see ourselves in 3 parts: the way we think we are, the way we want you to see us to be, and then how we really are for real. So yeah, so those are the 2 things I'm doing right now.
I love that. Okay, so we had a question about your workshop. Is there an age group?
Actually, there's the age group, but I do break it down. I have the sections where I have for middle school and high schoolers, and then I have a section I lunch for adults, because I do that because the information kind of resonates different, and the way I lay it out. I think sometimes the things I deal with adults is a little bit too much for kids to understand, so I kind of always create a smaller version for kids that they can understand it at the same time. So it's an age group, but it's also broken down into 2 sections. So.
Okay. And it's an in-person thing? It's online?
Well, the 3 classrooms will be a self-paced course that you can do yourself. So,
Okay.
but the 3 Parts of Mind actually is something I'm doing like one-on-one. Like we'll log in and they're registered, and then we'll have a session that we do live one-on-one during the week, and then the rest is self-paced. So I think that particular one needs interaction a little bit more, so we can deal with that. So yeah.
Awesome. And so how do people find you, your workshops, your book, everything, sign up? You have a website?
I do. You can go to www. Actually, just type in Hikina Michell Inc. because that usually is better. So it's HikinaMichellInc.com. So, and then my social media is, of course, Hikina_Michelle. They're all the same. It's easier for me.
Awesome. Okay, so one last question.
Okay.
So when it comes to Black love, how do we break the generational curse?
I'm going to go back to what I said in the beginning. Tell the truth. Be honest. And when I say that, I mean, go to the root. It's okay to say, I don't know. It's okay to say, I don't understand. It's okay to say, I need help. It's okay to say, I was wrong. So, so those are things that we need to first start with. Being honest, and once we be honest, be accountable, for your actions and your behaviors and the things that we do out into this world to people, and if you know that you are a person who possibly have dealt with trauma, then deal with it. Be honest about it. Find resources that that you're comfortable with. Like I said, it could be a therapist, it could be a mentor, it could be a coach, but we have to be able to say, I need help. And I think, for so long we've been able to, to have to hide it. We don't want to be seen as weak. We don't want to be seen as if we don't know. Ego don't ever want to be wrong. Ego don't ever want to feel like it's less than. It has to be in charge. Stop saying you're okay when you're not okay. It's okay not to be okay. You don't have to always have it together. That's unrealistic. And for my people, I want us to be able to sit back and say, you know what? I do need something. I am missing something. There is something that's not cultivated in me that I need to be the version of me I want to be.
Yes.
So I think for me, that's what I'll tell, my people to, be okay with telling the truth. Whatever that truth is, be okay with telling the truth because there's healing in truth.
Yep. And I like that everything that you said, like, it puts the onus back on you. It's like, I need help. I have some things that I haven't dealt with, because oftentimes we definitely find the fault in others. We don't mind pointing that out, what you did to me and what he did to me and what she said. And
right.
We don't mind doing that, but like we rarely, like, I did something wrong, or so I love that you put the onus back on the individual. Like,
it is so much easier for me to say that you did me wrong than to say that what I did probably made me make you do me wrong. Like, so it's easier for us to do that. I can see your wrong way before I can see my wrong.
Right.
So we have to be able to look in the mirror and see ourselves and realize that it's okay. It's okay. We can't grow, without telling the truth. We can't grow without healing. So let's be honest, let's take a moment to look back and look at what our parents and grandparents didn't know, they didn't understand, and they didn't have, so that we can create a whole new generation of children who really have a voice, who really want to stand up and fight, who really they want something different.
Yep. Love that.
Okay.
Okay. Well, Hikina, this was a great conversation. I really appreciate you coming on Smart Love, and just helping us, sort through our traumas and create, like I said, break the generational curse so that we are not passing it down to our children, and we're creating human beings that have better emotional intelligence, can like grow up to not have to relive our traumas. So I love that. You have a book signing coming in Atlanta. Tell the folks about that, and I will be there, and I will go live with Smart Love at your event.
It's actually March 8th at the Social Club in Snellville. It's from 4 to 6. So if you're in Atlanta, if you're coming to Atlanta, I would love to have you there. So yes, definitely. I would tell God, send my tribe. I want my tribe. Send my tribe. I need my tribe. So because we need to do this together. We need to make sure that we are healing together. I would say every generation is the harvest to the seeds planted before them. So let's plant some new seeds so we can get a new harvest.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. All right. Well, thank you, Smart Lovers. Thank you for everyone joining. Thank you for watching this back on replay. I am going to put the links to Hikina's book in the chat so you can get it on Amazon. And we will see you next time.
Bye.
Welcome, my smart lovers and friends. I'm so excited to have you here. Welcome to this community built just for you, focused on inspiring true love and authentic, healthy relationships, okay? All the ships, friendships, romantic relationships, partnerships, all of the above. So I'm super excited to have you here. What to expect, topics related to dating, relationships, marriage, growth, self-care, self-reflection, self-mastery. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of the community. Make sure you share with a friend or two or three. Let's continue to grow together.